Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Mariana Pagratidou, and today we will talk about jargon and how you can avoid using it in your own presentations. I'm a postdoctoral researcher at TUW. My work as a cognitive psychologist is to examine special abilities in and for STEM learning in a Marie Curie-funded project called the STEM. In my research, I'm interested in examining the construction of special situation models when readers foreground special shifts while reading comics versus while reading texts. And in that moment, I would like to share with me, okay, yeah, we are not in person, but you can still pause this video and take 5 minutes, take a piece of paper and share with me. You can even send it to my email. Share with me something about your project. Preferably, I would like to share with me 1 sentence with your project title and 3 sentences with a brief description of your project. But keep it brief. Okay, take those 5 minutes, pause the video, and come back with me 5 minutes later. Now, keep that paper, and let's get back to my text. I am a postdoctoral researcher at TUW. My work as a cognitive psychologist is to examine special abilities in and for STEM learning in a Marie Curie-funded project called the STEM. In my research, I'm interested in examining the construction of special situation models when readers foreground special shifts while reading comics versus texts. Well, do you have any idea what I'm doing in my life? Did you even enjoy that presentation of myself? Well, imagine that into a bigger length while presenting my project. Would you like that? Well, my guess is no, because I used too much jargon. And what is that? Well, take a look. This is all the red phrases that I used before. Postdoctoral researcher. What is that? TU Dublin? Okay, probably university. Maybe it goes for technological. Well, this is maybe not a jargon, but cognitive, cognition, special abilities. Why should I know about all these? STEM, okay, maybe you've heard that in school, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but who knows? Marie Curie funded project? What does a funded project mean? And what is a Marie Curie project? And why is it called STEM? Well, STEM is an acronym, but who cares? And what are the special situation models? Models? Are we going to talk about modeling? But who knows? And foreground special shifts, what is that? Well, this is jargon, and I think that you are trying to take my position, or at least I hope that you try to take my way of seeing things and realize that there is a great myth out there. They say that you are more scientific if you use more jargon, and you are not that accurate as a scientist if you don't. But is that true? What did you just experience from a simple and short introduction of myself when I used all this jargon that you probably have no idea what I was talking about? Did you feel that, okay, yeah, I'm a scientist, I know what I'm doing, even though you don't know what I do, I am. And is this the way that we as scientists want to communicate science to other people? Well, I would say no. We need to avoid using jargon. We need to take a step further from that myth, because this is a myth. We don't need jargon in our presentations. Of course, we do need jargon in our research proposals, in our papers, in our books, but not when presenting to people that have no idea about our project, when we are presenting to an audience who is not familiar with what we are going to discuss about. So, is there a solution on that? Of course it is. Here's the way. What can you do? You need to take time and read a lot, not something additional into that what you have already read, but read your script, read your presentation text. Always prepare presentation text and rehearse that text. But before we are going to do that, read your script again and again and again. And ask yourself, will your grandmother understand your presentation? Well, no. Read again. Get rid of the extra words. Will your grandmother understand that text now? No? Read again. Change the terminology. Change the jargon. Try to use it in a different way. Will she understand it now? No? Read again and explain with a paradigm, a simple paradigm that everyone can understand from daily life. Even if this doesn't work, there's a checklist with things that you should do and things that you should not do. Let's start with the don'ts. Never assume that your audience knows what you know. You spend a semester or a year or months or weeks, days, nights trying to understand what you're going to talk about. Your audience didn't. Your audience is just there, is giving you 15 minutes from their time and is expecting to understand something. Never assume that you have the same background knowledge, okay? Never use extra words. Time is valuable for everyone. We don't have time to waste. And please don't use jargon. We don't care about jargon. You are not going to be a better presenter when you use jargon, and definitely not a better researcher to the audience eyes. On the other hand, what you should do, take audience's perspective. For example, imagine that you have to give that same presentation in a kindergarten school. Try to take kids' perspective and change your script according to their understanding. Is your audience adults? Okay, they do understand more, but again, keep in mind, this doesn't make them experts. They do understand more than kids, but you still need to take your audience perspective and use words that they will understand. Explain the jargon, because sometimes I admit it's inevitable to avoid using jargon at all, but you can still use jargon. But in the same time, try to explain the jargon with an analogy or with a story. People love stories, love analogies from daily life. And you can always have the choice to add examples and add some metaphors in your script. Now, I will try to change the introductory of myself in a version that I will not use jargon. Okay, this is just an example that you can take and integrate it into your projects. It would be easier if we had a different kind of communication, but if you try and follow this simple exercise, I promise you that you will get the result that we want. Well, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Mariana Pagatidou, and I'm a psychologist. I study the human brain and behavior, and I'm a cognitive psychologist, which means that I try to understand human behavior in the spectrum of how humans remember life. So I study the core understanding of life, or at least the ways that life is being remembered and understood by human brain when reading comics versus texts. Well, someone would say, what about STEM and the funded project that we said before? I would say don't care too much about those. Who cares about STEM? Who cares about funded project? This is jargon, and no one needs jargon that cannot understand. We don't have the time to think twice in a presentation. This the introductory of myself is just an example. What I did? Oh yeah, I wear a hat. Did that make me a better presenter? Maybe it helped me leave the hat of the researcher behind and wear the hat of the presenter. Can you do the same? Can you please try and do the exercise that we did before, but in a different way? Try again without using jargon. Go back to your text. Highlight the jargon that you used. Highlight the words that are very difficult for someone to understand if they didn't have the time to read what you read in the previous semester. Pause that video and try again. Please keep in mind that whatever you are going to talk about needs to be completely understood by your own grandmother. You can see in my slides that I have this acronym, KISS. Who doesn't like kisses? So what does KISS mean? It means keep it short and simple. Keep in mind that when you are presenting, you need to avoid jargon, okay? And you need to keep your text and your presentation as short and as simple as possible. Because every time that you don't, and every time that you add jargon, someone will just grab their phone and scroll instead of paying attention to you. Do you want that? Did you spend the previous months preparing and doing research about this project in order to just go there and present something that no one cares about, no one wants to pay attention to? Well, guys, keep it short and simple, and trust me, your audience will forget about social media. Try to use some analogies, some examples, explain your jargon, and do again this exercise. Make sure that if you share with that text, the jargon version with your grandmother, she will not have a clue. But when you share the no more jargon version, she will not only have a clue, but also a smile in her face. And we do need smile faces when we're presenting things. We want our audience to be happy. In other words, if all this is too complicated for you, get rid the hat of the researcher. And please, next time, remember to wear the hat of the presenter. And thank you so much for your attention. Bye.